right, guys, welcome to another episode of Brand Builder TV, where we want to share with you how to brand and market in 2020, not 2004. Brand loyalty, especially personal brand loyalty, is king in today's world. 2020, 21, 22. It's about not only what you know, who you know, but now who knows you. That's why it's so important, right, to get your personal brand out there and not be afraid to let your business brand follow. It's flipped, man. The script has flipped since 2004. And as you guys know, I just use 2004 as an arbitrary number, and just hits me, and that's what we do. I am pumped for this episode today because I've known this guy for a few years, and the reason that we connected so deeply so quickly had a lot to do with my personal brand being so authentic, right? And it connected with him, and then when we finally met, it was like we knew each other forever, for a long time, I should say, to keep it real. But it had to do with that personal branding and that real authentic, knowing who you are and putting it out there. And I'll let this guy explain a little bit deeper how we met and the connection and the strength. And we were just together in his state, Arizona, which I love being out there. I love Scottsdale, Arizona. So no further ado, my man Joe Nicolosi.
Hey, thanks for having me, bud.
Capital, business line of credit, equipment lead. Listen, if you want to leverage other people's money, if you want to scale your business to the next level, you want that lending, but more importantly, if you want to understand the industry behind that black curtain, this is the man to see. He will not only get you in line, but he will actually start to help you understand, right, your best options. And honestly, that's the real value. That's what I love about this guy. Joe Nicolosi, introduce yourself. Give us that 30,000 foot view, big man.
Thanks for having me, man. It's an honor to be on your show. Yeah, as Dave said, we're in the lending space. We help business owners get the working capital and equipment financing they need to start, scale, and sustain their business in a competitive marketplace. So we want to reach as many small businesses as possible and see how we can add value.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. I know I was just out in Arizona probably about a month ago, and we were able to spend about a half a day together. And you were giving me some awesome testimonials, real world success stories, right? With that. And I was in that position years ago when I had the restaurant, right? It's trying to figure out, right, what is the best direction? Because once you start to put it out there that you'd like to create some lending capital, everybody and their grandmother, right?
And a lot of business owners don't realize that they need it at some point. Mm-hmm. So you're going to start a business, you think, well, I'm just going to use my cash flow, but ultimately you can't scale without outside capital. And at some point, you're going to have to hire people, maybe spend more in marketing, purchase the equipment that you're going to need to get an ROI over time. And too many business owners, I should say, try to do it on their own. And it's just a recipe for complacency.
Yeah, and a lot of times a recipe for disaster, right? Because now that really, it's just so many different avenues. And then also, entrepreneurship 101, scaling your business 101 is really about leveraging other people's money, right?
Absolutely.
That's what the most successful people do in real estate. Whatever it is, they want to leverage other people's money because
absolutely. And guess what it takes? You know what it takes? Credit.
Yes.
People don't focus on that. You know, cash flow is king, but also credit is really king.
Okay.
If you want to attain capital over time, you got to be consistent with your credit.
Good. So that's a great segue, man, for value, right? So at the end of the day, I'm assuming that somebody goes to you, not only are they going to get the best options for the lending world, but also kind of behind that black curtain of, hey, you know what? Here's what you could do to help that credit before we go down this direction, or here's what you could do to really enhance that picture to the lines of credit, to the banks, right? To those lenders that and you give me the view of what are they really looking for, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Sometimes they don't know what they're looking for. We have to, ask them those questions just to see what their dreams and goals are, and ultimately put them with the best product at that point.
Love it, man. Love it. Let's kind of shift directions here for a second. Give the people an overview of how we connected, how we found each other. And shoot, dude, what is this, 2015?
No, it's 2017. I just moved to Arizona, 2017.
Oh, 17.
We had Meltdown in the desert.
That's right.
So check this out. I can name drop on here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Colby K. I saw an interview of you and Colby K. And I'm like, who's this guy? I just loved your presence. I watched an interview. I was like, man, I really like this guy. I'm digging his vibe. So I started looking you up. I think I hit you up on Facebook, right?
I think so.
And you said, yeah, let's get together. I'm going to be in town for the Meltdown. I'm like, oh, perfect. And I was pumped up. I'm diving in. I'm like, I don't know anybody in Arizona. I'm going to this event. I want to get out there, meet some new people. And dude, out of that event, obviously we met there, but you were the one person that really stood out. And you weren't even speaking there. You were just there, and your light was radiating. And I'm like, man, I really, really like this guy. So that's how it all started with us. And then you gave me your book, and I'm like, man, I really, really like this guy a lot.
Man, and it really maps back to what we're talking about here, right? Is your personal brand. When you show up in that authentic way, and we hear the word authentic kind of like grind, right?
Oh, it's tossed around constantly.
It's thrown up on us every day.
Just like entrepreneur, it's passed around all the time.
Exactly, but there is something to that, right? Because my vulnerability when it comes to your brand is your vulnerability becomes your credibility, and I think that's what probably you connected with is that authentic, vulnerable. And it's funny because I reached out. The reason that me and Colby connected, and he did my show Monster Motivator TV, was because I was going out to Arizona, and I went from the top of the state to the bottom for a week doing my book tour. And I also booked my Monster Motivator TV shows, right? So I did, 5 shows that week. Colby was one of them. But and the other part of this is leveraging where we're at today, right? Understanding the landscape. And this is, right, the landscape.
Hey, I mean, you helped me so much, man. You probably don't even realize how much you've helped me. But as far as like, when you mentioned that word vulnerability, to learn to put myself out there a little bit more, even when we met a few weeks ago in Arizona again, I'm like, man, I got to get out there more. And you've been a catalyst for me in recognizing that. So,
man, I appreciate that, man. And I know the conversation we had, right, when we were talking about some kind of masterminding some ideas for you to go to that next level. Now that you have that foundation under you in this industry, and first thing I said was, well, how many podcasts you getting on? Right? And then
so far I've got, besides this one, I got one other so far.
That's all right. But they're out there, right? But at least it's set a seed. Because when I said to you, how many podcasts are you getting on? Are you getting on 3 a month? All of a sudden I saw the moonwalk. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And he said, wait a minute. But it makes sense, right? Because that's even how we connected. This is free. This is
how it happens, man. And then when you meet in person, something about that in-person connection, you really create some magic.
And here's the other thing about the in-person, right? And life makes the rules. It keeps it real. Yeah. So when you meet that person from Instagram and they ain't that, right? And we've all been there.
And see, man, whether it's your book or whether it's your videos, you're the same person in person. I can verify that as you are on screen. And
honestly, when I speak from stage or anything that or even meeting, that's the greatest compliment I could ever ask for is just, look, whether you like me, whether you don't, whether you agree with me, whether you don't, I promise you will leave and say, but he's fucking real. That's it.
That's the one word that stands out when it comes to Dave Daly is I think real.
I
think real.
But what we're talking about here is it's mapping to our landscape and it's mapping to personal branding, right? So Joe Nicolosi, he's the lender. He's the guy that
I'm
you
the money
want to
man,
go.
the lone wolf. You call me the lone wolf.
There you go. Right? Now, how important that is, right, in personal branding. The monster motivator, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to forget that. And it's exactly who I am. It's my DNA, right? Your tagline, your nickname is so important to connect. That's why Vince McMahon has a multi-billion-dollar empire and owns the names of those WWE
intellectual property, baby.
Right?
That's it.
That's how important this is, right? And on the flip side of that, whether you like them, whether you don't, this has nothing to do with politics, but the power of Donald Trump knowing how to use names, right? Mini Mike, right? I forget the name of Crooked Hillary, right?
Yes.
Look, you can say what you want. You can agree with them. You can disagree with them. This doesn't matter. The point is,
he's mastered branding.
It's everything, right? It is everything. And I think most people look at him as a real estate tycoon or a reality show star, right?
Dave, also, you know,
he's
everybody says sales is king. Man, sales is king, right? Everybody, you hear that all the time. Without sales, you don't have a business. But sales come in more consistently when you have a solidified brand.
Yes.
And that's the power of branding ultimately.
And it's the long game, right?
Yes.
In our world, look, think about this, right? How much your industry, real estate, mortgage world has changed since 2004. Back then it was, if you're a realtor, right, you're wearing Century 21 jacket, right, with pride, or your Keller Williams sign behind you with their tagline. Now, if you notice in the real estate world, people don't even, it's not even mentioned. It's about who you are and what you bring to that table.
You're ultimately the value. It's not what you're selling. It's who you are and how do people connect with you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, share with us what's going on in the lending world, man, in that commercial lending world. What's happening and what are we looking towards in 2020?
Well, I think the lending space, like back in 2006, 2007, I mean, anybody could qualify for a loan if you had a breath.
If you fogged up a mirror.
Yeah, right, exactly. Today, it's a little more strict. You got to be at the 680 plus FICO score. You got to have, a cash flowing business if you want to have a shot at long-term financing. It's going more towards fintech now, financial with technology. So you can just go online. You can get a pre-approval in 2 minutes if you wanted to now. That's where it's going, man. Technology is going to be eating this industry up. I mean, ultimately they're taking the middleman out and letting the client go right to the lender.
Right. If this is so key, dude. This is the fucking golden nugget of this show. You ready?
Ready.
If the middleman allows their value to disappear. See, your value as that middleman is now me to be able to come to you on a personal level and say, Joe, here's the deal, bro. Here's where I'm at. What should I do? So you become more of a consultant, right?
Here's what's happened. I'll give you an example. So we got a $391,000 equipment deal approved, funded, right? That guy, he trusted me, right? So I'm the advisor.
Yes.
He comes to me, he's like, nobody else is approving me. What can you do, right? I knew exactly where to go. I knew how to get him an approval. What did we do? Boom. Got him approved, got him funded. He had collateral. His credit was wrecked. I knew that he had collateral, so I could leverage that. I saved him plenty of time and money and aggravation from consulting him, getting him in the right place.
So here's what it comes down to, right? What I've been throwing up on people for years, everyone wants security, right? They're looking for that security in the business world, in their personal life, right? They want security in their relationships. It's fucking simple. Bring more value than the other person.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed security.
Exactly. It's that simple, man. I mean, people overcomplicate it too.
They do. They do.
How can you show up and just make an impression and make basically be memorable? How can you be memorable? That's what it comes down to.
Think about this, right? If you're looking for a piece of real estate, in our technology today, how easy is it for you to get all the information you need, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then some. So then a lot of people, the realtors are saying, well, we're going to be obsolete. Only if you allow your value to diminish.
Yes.
And I think that I believe the value is this, right?
It is.
So I know
like
I can
you
get
said,
on
who knows you? That's
right.
The value.
So I know that I could get my emails answered from Joe. I can get my answers answered from Joe. I could jump on a Zoom call if I have some questions because he's working on my stuff, or I was referred to him. I know that he's so reachable. Once someone knows that they're reachable, that's it, right?
You're sold already.
You're done.
Mm-hmm.
There's your value. And that will never go away no matter how much technology, right? They can put that robot there.
That's exactly what I do as a middleman, as a consultant advisor. I keep showing up for the clients. And then next thing you know, we're talking about, our personal lives. We're having that deep connection. We're talking about life in general, not just, hey, can you help me get funded?
Yeah.
Those are the kind of relationships I want personally long term.
That technology cannot duplicate.
Correct. It's never going to win.
No.
Against personal connection.
If you keep building that value, right? And that's what and I'll be honest with you, dude, that's the other reason why we connected. When you reached out to me on Facebook, and then I said, hey, I'll see you at the meltdown. When I met you, it was just as genuine, man. Right?
Yeah.
We're
both East Coast boys, man. We're both we know how it works.
And honestly, I saw myself in you 15 years earlier, because I was that young guy that was just trying to figure it the fuck out, right? And
that's when I met you. I mean, look, I started Starcade Capital about a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Before that, I'm in these different jobs. I'm working as a personal assistant for, a speaker, right? I'm like, man, my soul's slowly dying. I from the inside, I felt it. I didn't want to show it on the outside. I don't want people to see, like, look, I'm going through some chaos right now on my own, trying to figure this shit out. So that was me. I wasn't being fully authentic with it.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I felt my soul dying slowly, and I'm like, I gotta be the linchpin for myself. I gotta do something different. So a year ago, I pulled the trigger, and I was scared, man. I was like, all right, let's see what this is all about. And I underestimated a lot, but man, we're still in the game.
100%, right? Scared and excited at the same time, right? Yeah. That's that dynamic duo. But let me go back even a little further for people where you definitely had the entrepreneurial DNA, whether you could identify it or not. So 2017, you were a young kid that just landed on the other side of the country, knew nobody, right? Had to figure it out. Probably didn't have the funds to get to the meltdown, but figured out a way.
No, I did.
But wait a minute, but figured out a way to bring value. So when I met Joe at the meltdown, he was working the show, right?
Yeah.
There was enough value for Colby K to say, come on in, dude, you don't even need it.
Colby basically invited me to help him out, and then he said, work the show. You can come every day and meet people. So
that's an entrepreneur though, right? Figuring it out as you go. Instead
resourcefulness.
Of saying, right?
Hey, that's the number one thing, by the way, is resourcefulness. For me over the past year, becoming resourceful, even when I felt defeated, because there's been a few times where I lost some big deals, and I'm like, damn, I really thought my life was just going to soar. That's the journey of an entrepreneur, though. It's like that.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody will tell you the same thing.
And here's my question. You ready?
I'm ready.
Right? And that last year and a half, would you trade that in to work for somebody?
No.
It's not.
Honestly,
it took you a millisecond.
Honestly, this isn't out of ego. This is not saying this out of ego. Now, I know you feel the same way. At this point in my life, going on 29, I feel like I'm unemployable because when you self-govern your thoughts, you don't want to work for somebody.
You can't.
You know how you think about the world. You know what you want to create. And when you're self-governed, it's like, man, I can't see myself working for somebody else. And it's not out of ego. It's just real.
And Gary Vee said it the best, right? If I had to work for somebody, I would be suffocated.
Yeah.
Right? That's why most of us did horrible in school.
Yes.
Not all, but listen, and once they kicked me out, I was like, man, they should have
talk
done
about
this 4 years ago.
You are one of the most resourceful guys based on your story, which you told me about your upbringing. Mm-hmm. To find your way to selling companies, and now what you're doing with doing the pit crew and all that soon, man, you always find a way to make it happen. And you never used your past as a crutch. You always saw like, man, this is an opportunity.
Well, you know what? It's interesting, man. Going through the restaurant when I crashed out to the ground, going through the personal bankruptcy and getting my fire restoration company back going, and dusting myself off and all this stuff. It's funny, and I never looked at it like that devastation or that victim mentality, probably because of my past. But I remember sitting with my accountant, and he was just like, God damn, he goes, how did you get back up so quickly, so fast? I go, Peter, there was no option. Like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, this is what I need to do.
Now,
okay.
Dave, a question for you. Did you always have that confidence, or were you shitting your pants along the way?
Always.
Yeah,
always.
Were you nervous?
Always scared and excited, right? Always scared and excited at the same time. But I'm going to answer that in two ways. I've always had this inner voice in me that knew there was something else. Even as a young kid, in school, there was, and looking back at it, is they never, once I get past the 5th and 6th, get into like middle school, they didn't create any type of purpose for me, right? I'm just going through the motions like fucking cattle, right? We're going in line. We're here in line. What saved me was wrestling, right? Sports, yeah. And being able to be outside, and just that saved me. And then in high school, it got even worse. I'm like, there's just no purpose here. So that, on that part of it. The second part is, it's like it's just like part of my DNA, right? Is knowing, really in the last year and a half, man, really getting to know myself on such a level. And then, I've shared this with you, mm-hmm. is the Monster Momentum morning, man. It's been
morning routine.
It's been an evolution, right? Mm-hmm. It's been the ultimate game changer for me on starting to know who I am and really embrace it on such an unbelievable level, on such a connection to my inner source. And that's just a real, right? It's that level of awareness, which is just really second to none. So hopefully that did answer the questions. It's just oh man, it's been such a fucking wild ride, man.
I know, and I feel like like you said, you saw yourself in me back then, right?
Yeah.
Well, when I met you, I'm like, well, I see myself. This guy's like, maybe 15 years ahead of me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I have those same goals to sell a company, build it, sell it, mm-hmm. at some point, and just the way you carry yourself, I'm like, man, that's the way I see myself.
Man, and I appreciate that. And one of the things too, Joe, that I've really come to realize, and what's helped me completely understand myself, and this came as just an idea as I was moving this forward, and it hit me so strong. Is, man, when you start to let the money go, it starts to appear.
That's been the challenge, man. I mean, like,
I know.
You focus on money as an entrepreneur because you're like, man, I got to eat, I got to pay rent, right?
Yeah, but it's that really getting quiet with yourself on a consistent basis, and that creates that confidence, that courageousness, right, to move forward into the darkness and not go back into safety. And for me, for the last few years, I've always wanted to, ultimate goal has always been to relaunch Monster Motivator TV nationwide, live air B2B, 8 months out of the year, in a 40-foot custom tour bus, right?
Hey, you got a bed for me on there, right?
That's it, brother. We're going to Airbnb, my man, open door policy. But I've never until the last year been able to connect the pieces that have been missing until now. And the ultimate vehicle is the pit crew to launch everything. And, I obviously had an opportunity, and you were gracious enough to listen, let me throw up on you for about 2 hours on.
Yeah, I always love listening to you, man. I'll let you talk any day.
But
by the way, I want to talk about this. How important, because you were just brought up money, how important is that in the grand scheme of things? Because you said, once you let the idea go, it flows. Yeah, it's still a challenge for me. I'm still like, okay, the whole law of attraction thing, just add value, like you say, and then it should flow in. Do the right thing and it should come in. How often do you consciously think about it?
Every single day, every single moment, right? It's all combined. It's not that you don't think about the money. It's you think about the money in a different way. And the reason that the Monster Momentum morning, or whatever your morning routine is so important, is because when you wake up, that's when your subconscious, that's when your everything is just wide open, right? So most people wake up and let life control them, right? I always say they become their own biggest anchor and not even realize it on a consistent basis. The worry, the unsure, the this, instead of waking up, having a real solid routine, getting quiet with yourself, getting click. At the end of the day, here's what happens. Here, you ready? Here it is. Ready. The Monster Momentum morning, why it's so powerful. And I'm a branding guy, right? So doesn't mean you have to do exactly what I do, but this is how I do it. And this is why it's so powerful. Monster Momentum morning. Ask, align, and allow. Let's go deeper than that, because that's such a spiritual thing. And the other people that are very practical are going to say you're out of your fucking mind. Well, I'm going to say two things. Go talk to my man, Dr. Joe Dispenza, right?
Yes.
He'll fucking tell you. He'll check you on every level, right, that I can't. So ask, align, and allow. Here's what that means on a practical level. When you ask, you create clarity. Clarity, right, creates empowerment. When you feel clear about something, whatever that is, and what happens? You create a power.
You pull opportunities towards you
when you feel empowered. Yes. When you feel clear, when you feel foggy, how do you feel?
Oh man, like you can't get out of it.
You feel weak.
That's what it feels like.
You feel weak.
Yeah.
When you feel clear, you're empowered, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So when you're asking, now you're creating clarity, which creates power. Secondly, align. Once you ask, now you're going to align. Here's what that alignment is. Alignment is inspired action, not grind, not hustle, inspired action. That means it comes from here, right? When you take that inspired action, now the people and the circumstances start to come into your life, which now creates belief. Belief now, when you tie that in with ask, align, and allow, now this is where so many people fall down. Step back and allow it to come in. You know what allow is in the practical world? Expect it.
Yes.
Expectation. Yes. Does that make sense?
I always have one too, and I'm sure you do. I always expect something, whether it's working a deal, whether it's a personal relationship.
Right, but the deal is, do you expect it to go well, or do you expect it to fall down. And a lot of people are
Right.
expecting that shoe to drop. But now, so expectation, which leads to knowing, right? So now you took belief and you just 10x'd it with knowing. And here's one of my sayings is flowing is knowing, knowing is flowing. When you're flowing, when you cut that deal, right? You're flowing.
Man, when you're flowing, you feel like you got your genius.
You
feel like, oh, I got my inner Einstein right now.
Your inner Einstein, which is your infinite intelligence. It's who we are as human beings. And again, all the spiritual stuff that I'm talking about, go talk to Dr. Joe Dispenza. He'll break it down. He will check you on every single, I don't care how practical you are. If you talk to this man and study his stuff on a scientific, proven level, he will check you on every level. Yeah. Right? Now, you want to 10x it, 20x it on a spiritual level, listen to Abraham. It's just, that's right.
Yes.
That's 100%. Right, man. Every single morning, man, part of my mantra mono.
Or, I would tell people, listen to Dave Daly.
Well, here's the deal, though, dude. Here's the deal. You ready? Not a very large part of my morning starts off with concern, doubt, insecurity. I'm keeping it real, okay?
100%.
When I wake up, a large percentage of my mornings start off with that. Once I start to move into this morning routine, once I get to so I do 5 different types of meditation. Once I get to the writing meditation, no matter how insecure I feel when I woke up, it all of a sudden just changes the momentum. And it went from that anchor that's trying to drag me down, right, under the water and take my oxygen, to a fucking propeller.
Yes.
That shoots. It's just what happens, man. So you got to find your mojo. You got to.
Now, when you say you wake up with insecurities, doubts, what are those for you? What do those look like?
Well, it's am I going to be up where I'm at right now, which a lot of behind the scenes is. Am I going to be able to? How am I going to be able to track that power partner? Right? How am I? Man, all this stuff that has to be connected behind the scenes, right? How can that happen? My fire restoration business, right? How do we keep growing this? How do we scale this? And then at the same time, because of what I'm doing with the pit crew and the Monster Motivator, I'm also at the same time juggling that, okay, I can also start to dissolve this whenever I want, right? Or I could, so it's interesting, but so what happens is, and I'm sure a lot of people probably want to know this Monster Momentum morning, what is it? Here, at the end of the day, here it is, man, right? And you're talking about a kid from Jersey that when you told me about meditating, I said, you're out of your goddamn mind, right? What are you, flying on some sort of magic carpet? Right? Because I thought of meditation only one way, which I call it zone meditation, which is the quiet, getting in that, I don't do this, I don't cross my feet, right? I'm in my office just like I am here. I put a bandana on, shut the lights out, and I get in the zone. But here's how it works for me. Take what works, throw out the rest. Here's the deal. I wake up in the morning, I feed my boy to a man, I put on the coffee, or actually, I don't even do that yet. I go out to my treadmill, I do 10 minutes of light cardio, listening to something very, very inspirational when I'm tell everyone it's Abraham every single morning. And for 10 minutes. So motion therapy, motion meditation. Yes. Then I go put on coffee and I go back out and I do a full body stretch. Stretching meditation, right? For about 15 minutes, and I'm listening to something very inspirational. I do a full body stretch. Then I come in, make my coffee, go into my office, shut the lights out. And I usually get up between 4 and 5 in the morning every morning without an alarm. So there's mornings where I literally, when I close my door to my office, Everything's shut. I got to use this to get to my desk. Right? So, and then I put the bandana on, right? and I actually I should have this over here. And then I do what's called the zone meditation, which is what people think of as traditional, right? I just sit quiet. Here's the key to this, though. Here's been the game changer for me. If you are an entrepreneur, you are built like me and Joe. Our mind is fucking zooming, right? Here's where so many of us fall down with meditation and they think that they can't do it, is they beat themselves up when your mind starts to wander. Here's the key. Don't beat yourself up, allow it, and then just keep going back. So you're utilizing the what we have in our DNA to be an entrepreneur. You're utilizing that consistency, right? That determination. The key is don't beat yourself up. Here's what I do also. I use the I am. So that person that I want to be when it comes to character, I am happy. I am fun. I am funny. I am courageous. I start to use that. For me, that now gets me in the zone and connects. And it only has to be 10 to 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be 2 hours of meditation.
So this is every morning consistently.
It's a non-negotiable, Joe. It's a non-negotiable. It trumps the gym for me. And if anybody knows, that's huge, right?
It's huge for you to say that.
It trumps everything, because at the end of the day, if you're out of alignment, your whole inner circle, your outer circle, your world is out of alignment, right? Yeah. So I do the I ams, that gets me in. And then people say, well, how do you know when it's done? 92, 95% of the time, I get to a point where I'm in this zone and it's just a tingly sensation. And then I bounce, right? Then this is the game changer though. For me anyway, the writing meditation.
Yeah.
I write down.
You're saying that.
Yes. I write down if I'm looking to attract that certain person, right? Let's just say so many people on here are looking to attract their soulmate, right? Well, you have to mirror that. So you have to be clear on who you're looking for on an emotional level and a physical level, right? So many people are embarrassed or they feel guilty for putting down the physical part. But listen, at the end of the day, we're human beings. Yeah. Physical is important, right? So the emotional part, the physical part, then I mirror that. So if I have 24 things, and I do 25 things on the emotional level of that person, whether it's a personal, an intimate relationship or a business relationship, I write that down, the physical, and then I need to be able to mirror that, because I need to become that person in order to attract that person.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And then, so most of your day, I would say, well, the first half of your day is spent working on yourself all the time.
Oh, it's an hour and a half to 2 hour process, right? So investing in yourself. So now what I do when I get to the business part of it, I write down the purpose. Why are you doing it? The vision. How do you see this unfolding? And the goals, right? And when it's really big, what I've learned is make your, a lot of people say, hey, break down your goals 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. What I say is that's absolutely important, but especially in the beginning, if your goal and your destination is really big, don't be afraid to just be very basic, because now that keeps that belief. Here's where a lot of people fall down. They break all this stuff down, or they try and break all this stuff down, or they try and get to know everything on how, and then they start to not believe, and then they start to doubt themselves, and then they go backwards.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been there too.
So that's it, man. Right. Like I said, I'm not kidding, Joe. Every single morning, or 90-something% of my mornings wake up with, wow, man, can I do this? How is this going to go? And then this just checks me, man. And the best way for me to describe it goes from that anchor looking to pull me down to that propeller.
So how important is fitness in building your belief system? Because for me, that's huge. Like without, if I'm not working out consistently, I'm noticing the rest of my life is like, what's going on?
Well, I could speak for myself, right? Here's the deal. Your physical body, our physical body, is our vehicle to get us through this lifetime. So just like your vehicle, the better you take care of it, the smoother the ride. That's just the real.
Yeah, right? I like that.
Now, some people are conditioned differently. For me, it goes even further than that. When I feel like I look good, for me, I feel good inside is what it helps 10x that. It helps 20x that, right? One of my personal goals when we launched the Pit Crew is to roll out DDMM Urban line of men's apparel.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, that creative part, that visionary part, that how you look and how you feel is a marriage.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
And I got that feeling you feel the same way. Right?
Absolutely.
And again, so many people I think get that truly feel that way deep down, feel guilty or embarrassed to say that because they think it's shallow, but actually it's just identifying who you truly are.
Well, and then there's like you channel this inner lion, and that inner lion never really goes away. It's always screaming at you. It's always wanting more. It's always like, come on, let's get the next challenge.
I love that. This just hit me, so I'm going to share this with you. Can I share this with
you? Absolutely. Go ahead, man.
You ready for this? What was your nickname?
When? In high school or?
No. You just told me your nickname for the lending.
Oh, Lone Wolf.
You ready?
Yeah.
Would you entertain a different one?
Absolutely.
You ready?
I'm all ears.
You ready?
Yeah.
The Lion of Lending.
Oh.
The Lion of Lending. Now think about that.
That's good.
Wait a minute. Think about that on a subconscious level, right? Your goal is to scale your business. You're lone wolf of lending, right? What I think about is by yourself. Lion of lending. When you think of I think of a lion that proud. Bring it. Let me show you. Let me bring you through this fire, right? Because that's what people are looking for. When I go to get lending from you, I'm like, man, how do I do this? What do I do? This is overwhelming. Let me pull you through because I'm the lion of lending.
I'm gonna steal that, man. Do you mind?
That's you. And this just came to me. This just came in conversation.
That's brilliant.
This just came in conversation, right? You know me, I love the nickname thing, right?
Well, see, both of us, we each have a chip on our shoulder, and it's a healthy chip.
Well,
and that's where we really relate because we understand that internally. Look, you can't shut that off.
No.
I've tried. Now, why am I trying to shut this off so I can fit in with everybody else?
Yeah.
Like, what's the real reason?
It's impossible.
Yep.
Right? It's absolutely impossible. But the lion of lending, man, who is that guy? Wait a minute.
I'm gonna have to trademark that as soon as we get off here.
I'll be honest with you, man. And on a side note, I got a great guy that does it. I just secured a few names. So, and I've used them for a few years. But anyway, the lion of lending, man. I mean, that's empowering.
That embodies who I am more than the lone wolf.
Yes,
and because sometimes you feel like a lone wolf, on this journey.
Yep. But that's not who you are. But think about this: not only embodies who you feel you are, but where you're going.
Yeah. And it's like in The Lion King, he gets on top of the mountain. Boom.
Do you visualize it? I mean, yeah. I see a lion standing up on a rock in the Africa with the wind blowing on his mane, right? And if that's not pride, if that's not power, nothing is, right? It's like when we envision a bald eagle just flying, right? It's that freedom. It's that power. But absolutely, dude, I can't wait.
Dude,
I
that was
hope I
good.
see that on all your marketing, my
Yo,
man.
I mean, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that we walked away with that name from this interview.
But here's what happens. You just let it flow, right? Flowing is knowing. Knowing is flowing.
Yes.
We didn't make up the rules.
You're awesome.
Life did. So hopefully, is there anything that you want to leave us with? I want to be, I know we both have a lot of balls in the air. So is there anything that you want to leave us with?
Well, obviously, I'm going to have to secure that Lion of Lending name after this, but you can check me out at starcadecapital.com, see what we do, see what we're all about. And if any of your people need lending, I'm more than happy to assist them, bring them through the fire.
Yeah, and even if they have questions, right? Even if they're not sure it's for them, 100%.
And I'm always reachable. So if you call me, I'm going to call you back. I'm going to respond. You don't have to worry about getting ghosted.
Yep.
You know?
And I'm that conduit. If somebody's not sure, reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with them, man. That's my man.
You're my man.
The Lion of Lending, baby.
Wait, you always end it with one question, though.
Right. That's right. Life's asking you right now. You want to purr like a kitten or roar like a lion?
Yeah, we're going to roar like a lion.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah!